You've definitely heard the term investment banking thrown around, right? It probably brings up images of shiny skyscrapers and people making these high-stakes deals. But what do these financial giants actually do? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on this whole world and find out how these, you could say, financial architects are shaping our economy, one massive deal at a time. Okay, so first things first, this is not the bank you go to on the corner to cash a check. Not even close. Investment banking operates in a completely different league. We're talking about a world of corporations, governments, and massive, massive transactions that literally shape entire industries. So what's the big difference? It's pretty simple, actually. A commercial bank, that's your bank. It serves people like you and me. We deposit our money, they give out loans for cars and houses. An investment bank, on the other hand, serves huge entities like corporations and governments. Their main job, raising insane amounts of money, capital, and advising on the most complicated deals you can imagine. Let's dig into that first core mission, raising capital. Just imagine a brilliant tech startup that needs, say, $1 billion to build its next game-changing product. I mean, where does that kind of money even come from? Well, that's where an investment bank steps right into the picture. And one of the most famous ways they do this is through what's called an initial public offering, or an IPO. You've heard of it, right? It's when a private company goes public. The investment bank is basically the expert guide for this whole journey. They handle everything from the mountains of regulatory paperwork to actually going out and selling the company's brand new shares to investors, all leading up to that huge launch day when the stock starts trading on an exchange. And this brings us to a really crucial concept called underwriting. This is where the investment bank doesn't just help sell the shares, they often guarantee the company a certain price for them upfront. Now think about that. This means the bank is taking on a huge financial risk. If they can't sell those shares for the price they promised, well, the bank eats the loss. And that risk-taking is absolutely essential, because without it, a lot of amazing, innovative companies might never get the funding they need to get off the ground. Now, beyond just raising money, investment banks are also the masterminds behind mergers and acquisitions. You'll hear it called M&A. This is when one company buys another one, sometimes in deals so enormous they can literally reshape entire industries overnight. An M&A deal is just incredibly complex, and the investment bank is the lead strategist, the quarterback of the whole thing. They help a company figure out who to buy, determine exactly the right price to pay, negotiate all the tricky terms, and then dig through all the financials, that's a process called due diligence, just to make sure there are no nasty surprises hiding in there. And they do all that before finally getting the deal across the finish line. Which, of course, leads to the billion-dollar question. I mean, whether it's a company going public in an IPO, or one company buying another, how on earth do they figure out what a company is actually worth? This, right here, is where the real magic of investment banking comes in. The answer, in one word, is valuation. This is the absolute core skill of investment banking, and it's really a mix of art and science, all dedicated to one goal: calculating the true fair value of a business. Every single deal they do hinges on getting this number right. Now, bankers don't just pull a number out of thin air. They have a whole toolkit of sophisticated methods. For instance, they'll look at what similar public companies are trading for, or what buyers have paid for comparable companies in past deals. And they'll use a really powerful forecasting method called discounted cash flow. And this DCF thing, it really gets to the heart of how modern finance works. Basically, it's a way to forecast all the cash a company is expected to make, for years into the future. And then it calculates what all of that future money is actually worth in today's dollars. So it's all about valuing a business based on its future potential to generate cash. Okay, and here's a super important distinction you've got to understand: the difference between equity value and enterprise value. Equity value is what you usually hear about. It's just the share price times the number of shares. But enterprise value, that shows you the true cost to buy the entire company. Think of it like buying a house. You don't just pay the asking price. You also have to take over the mortgage, right? Enterprise value is the same idea. It's the equity price plus all the company's debt minus any cash it has on hand. That's the real number that matters in an acquisition. All right, so we've talked about raising capital, we've talked about M&A, about all these complex valuations. But why does any of this stuff really matter to us? Well, turns out these activities are a fundamental engine of our entire economy. This quote here really nails it. At the end of the day, investment banking acts as this critical pipeline.
It takes money from those who have it, like big investors, and channels it directly to those who need it, like companies trying to grow or governments building infrastructure. It's what fuels growth, innovation, and ultimately job creation.
So when you boil it all down, from the IPO that funds the next breakthrough technology to the merger that creates a new global leader, investment banks are right there, at the very center of the financial system that powers the world we all live in.
And that leaves us with one final thought. There's just no doubt that investment banks have this immense power to direct money and to shape entire industries. In a very real way, they are the architects of our economic future. So the question we're left with is, what kind of future are they building?